Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our second match of the day here for Day 6 of Starladder Season 11 America Group Stages. I'm Zyori, and once again joined by Blaze. We've got a good one. Root Gaming versus the Sneaky Nyx Assassin. Blaze, baby, tell me you're excited.
I most definitely am, man. I mean, seeing all the stand-ins, it does mix things up a little bit here, but it's NA Dota at its finest. I mean, honestly, like, you look at these guys, and this is NA Dota. These teams are all about that style of aggressiveness across the map, going for cool strats, and just kind of pump stomping, honestly. Everybody looks to should be the superstar. Everybody looks to perform, and I really have high expectations from both sides. It looks like we are out Ush in lieu of Brax for Sneaky Nyx Assassins. We're also seeing Toxin stand in, so that'll be interesting. Actually, there's a couple of people that I've not only spectated with, but played with on these teams, and it's
No
going to be
way.
exciting to see them. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Get out of town, Blaze.
Well, it is EU, so, or it is the US East and US West, so it is going to be what it is.
I'm
but
just
a lot of
just
times
yanking your chain here. Now, the real question is, have you heard the good words of your boy JC? Have you seen the light, Blaze? Because he's their drafter today, and we'll see what your boy JC can get going on. Chicken MC feeling fresh with his hashtags today, ready for a good day of Dota. Boy, this draft is going by quick. Root Gaming, they get Brewmaster Earthshaker with their opener here. Sneaky Nyx Assassins, they'll pick up the Tide, the big bag Cucumber of the Seas, and they move right into that hero that does so much good work against the Brewmaster. Of course, the Silence of the Skywrath Mage, but here's where things get interesting. The Sneaky Nyx Assassins, a little bit of that Wisp Tiny action here with their third, fourth picks.
going in strong with this duo here. Very good against the Brewmaster in general. Like, you're not going to be able to feel confident on the lane when you're getting zoned out by the Wisp and he's getting every rune. And it's going to be making it more difficult to decide how you're going to gank, if you're going to get roaming supports to couple with the Earthshaker. I mean, there are still some good ones in the pool. Vengeful Spirit's not too shabby, but at the end of the day, your laning phase is going to be a little bit rough, and every point of emphasis you put on shutting down IO or Tiny goes right into the fact that the Tide will get some good experience. So no matter what, you're coming up in the laning phase here for SNA. Unfortunately, it won't be Ush running this Tiny. We'll see how the roles kind of find themselves, but Ember Spirit's an interesting pickup. Gets good mobility and is one of the better heroes of dodging out relocate ganks. Like, that's not going to be an easy way to pick him off, though he is vulnerable to Skywrath.
Very true. Pretty solid lineup, really on both sides of the coin. Very prevalent heroes in this this current meta. Tide, the big watermelon. What do you think about Tide right now, Blaze? We've seen him picked up a lot. Secret, obviously, very successful with him in the grand finals of the last season of Starladder, and Marlene and I have been talking about it a bit, and it seems like for some of these teams that aren't quite at that upper echelon that we saw in the land finals of Starladder, find the Tide Hunter to sometimes be a liability if he can't find that early farm.
I might have a more polarizing opinion on it, but I honestly think he is the best hero in the game.
Whoa!
Yeah, 100%. If you do not ban him in the first phase and you don't have first pick, you have to ward Ancients. If you don't do that, you're just asking to be double ravaged. And the way that BKB works against Refresher Orb right now, I feel it's just too damn strong. BKB, every single fight, it gets worse because of the fact that you go down to 5 seconds, you're sked it for the entire game. And Tide, comparatively speaking, just gets better and better. This hero should not scale late game, but theoretically, the way he is shut down by BKB, and the fact that he's only going to get stronger as the BKB tapers, he actually is an incredible late game force.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely an amazing hero right now, but you hit the nail on the head, is warding out the Ancients, something we don't see enough teams do. It's almost insane how quickly Tide can clear out the Ancients and how easily. And if you don't ward it and their supports are on point, I mean, you're looking at that 10-minute mark, and Tide can walk over, get himself a big old fatty stack of 4 or 5 Ancients, and then before you know it, you've got a Blink Dagger coming your way with some Ravage to follow it up. Sneaky Nyx Assassins, they'll need another core for their final pick here, probably their safe laner. Fairly safe to assume Tide will head to the off lane, Wisp Tiny will go mid, and Skywrath will be joined by, well, some new party here in the safe lane. They've got a lot of options. What are you thinking, Blaze?
It's tough. It depends if they want to rat this out or if they just want to crush people by getting the Tiny extremely farmed. It depends on if Root are actually going to be able to engage on the IO. You kill off the Wisp, and Tiny is actually a hero that you can bring down. But if they can create space for this Wisp and allow him to stay on the back line, give the Tidehunter the Clockwork in the front line, they're going to be able to just make sure this Tiny goes carry mode. So Clockwork will enable relocates very well with Hook into Cogs, and anybody but Ember Spirit is going to get picked off by that.
Yeah, I think it is a nice synergistic pick with the team, and also an IX Mike classic. A hero that he likes, quite comfortable with. He'll be headed to the off lane, and pretty well-rounded draft for the Radiant side, I have to admit. Some really good initiators across the board. Actually, some of the best initiators you can ever hope for. Clockwork, Tidehunter, a Wisp with a Tiny behind him, and a Skywrath Mage. Maybe it's the Wisp behind the Tiny, but still the duo that will be tethered about. Now looking over the way of Root Gaming, they will need a support for this final choice. Sneaky Nyx Assassins banned out the Enigma with their last pick. I do like that Root banned out the Necrophos, even though it seems pretty obvious it's Tiny Wisp. We've seen a couple teams play just the straight-up Tiny, and Wisp Necro is still not something you want to go up against, even if there is a Tiny in the pool.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how Root can pull this draft out and feel confident in this game. The Ancient Apparition is going to be nice, but the end of the day, you picked 4 melee heroes against Tide, against IO Tiny, against Clockwork. If you try to focus down a target, you're going to be clumping up. And in those circumstances, these heroes thrive. They're going to be doing so much work against you. And yeah, I mean, the Ancient Apparition will be the one ranged hero to rule them all. But if it's going to be enough to actually shut down the opposition is another story entirely. I like the fact that Ice Blast will limit IO's potential to keep Tiny alive. You're not going to be overcharging as often when you're always losing health, and you're not going to be benefiting from items like Urn, Mech, Bottle, Wand, all that good stuff to keep the sustain alive. But all the same, I feel that it can be just another hero that you can gun down. You can kill off an Earthshaker and Cogs. You can kill an AA just as easily.
Well, good old US East servers are at it again. Looks like we'll have some time to spare here, Blaze, but yeah, I actually have no packet loss. I'm feeling pretty good, but I agree with you. All these melee heroes up against the Tiny, up against the Tide, up against the Clockwork. This will not be an easy game for Root. And dare I say, I think this is a bit of an outdraft in favor of SNA, of course. They do have some good heroes on the Dire side, though. A lot of momentum-based cores here. And if they can get a good time on the Blink Dagger for Centaur, for the Brewmaster, then I think maybe they can create some space for this Ember Spirit, maybe take some good early mid-game fights. And I think if they can do okay in the laning phase, they do have some momentum abilities to do some damage in the mid-game. But there isn't really any stage where I look at this Root draft and think that's their time when they should be ahead and be able to smash them. Even if they can win some team fights, they have absolutely no pushing prowess.
Yeah, I mean, they have some good pickoff potential. The Centaur can jump in, get a good Blink Stomp. You've got the Searing Chains to set up, things like the Thunderclap, and in general, they're going to have good chains of disables. So they will find a kill or two every once in a while, but as far as actually taking a full 5-on-5 fight, it's just so damn hard against the Ravage. And yeah, Ix Mike is going to be heading out to the offlane. I was curious if they were going to do this. They are swapping it over to Brax. Brax is one of the most famous NA Clockwork players in... Was it TI3? They just had this most incredible run up against LGD, and yeah, you never forget that moment. It's just absolutely insane what they were able to pull off. And Clockwork specifically, this is Brax's hero. Like, he showed off rocket flare blocking on creep camps. He obviously is very well versed in using the hero effectively, and yeah, I expect it's just going to go ahead and take Todd to the offlane with pure consumables.
Yep. And how are the other lanes settling down? Whitebeard's on the Skywrath Mage. He'll be in the safe lane. TC, of course, on the Tiny. And that leaves us with good old fluff and stuff here on the Wisp. Old IO, the Particle Ball. Dire side, we've got Root Gaming, plus a couple of stand-ins here. They'll posture a bit aggressively out of the gate. They will get down a Sentry Ward, and hey, they wanted to block the Ancients, but they find an Observer. Wow, these lucky snakes. They'll get a little bit of vision control over this top rune and over the mid lane. And that leaves the Sneaky Nyx Assassins with no rune vision out of the gate. Their only other observer does block the hard camp here in the off lane.
So now we're going to be seeing a safe lane Clockwork. And what do you think they can really get on this hero at that stage? I've seen interesting builds like Blink Dagger, Aghanim's Rush. Obviously, he has the utility items like the Pipe, the Mech. What do you expect out of a Clockwork that's free farming?
I think the Ags rush is pretty viable. I've seen some Clockworks rush a Blade Mail for the really cost-effective stats if you want to get really aggressive and right up in people's faces. I'm partial to the Ags. I think if you can get it fast enough in the mid-game, it just gives you so much potential for non-stop initiations. And if your Clockwork is kind of snowballing out of control fast enough to have like a 20-minute Aghanim's, maybe 25 minutes, something like that, the other team is usually just not quite equipped to deal with all that jumping around. And I mean, also just the damage. When you have hookshot on that sort of a cooldown, the damage does start to add up from all that long range. But we'll see. Let's take a look at the dire lanes, though. We've got Toxin there standing here in the off lane on the Centaur. He's got his work cut out for him. Whitebeard doing a good job harassing him back. Mid, here's our boy, Chicken MC. Hashtag Hose Ain't Loyal. Mike Chan, 6-pack shortcuts. So you might want to hit him up after this gameplay. Sounds like he's got a lot of good life advice to share. He'll be on the Brewmaster mid, and safe lane will be a try. Your boy JC on the AA. That puts Joink here on the Earthshaker and Scar. Oof. Giving me chills thinking about the Lion King here on the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, I've seen him most recently perform in the mid lane. Like, he loves like TA and Quap type heroes, but the Ember Spirit works very well in that capacity, and he's just going to get all the more farm here. The Ember would have a really bad time duoing against the IO Tiny, so a good call in that regard. We're going to see Joik actually snatch up a rune, so Fluff is going to toss to him, and they're actually going to go for a kill here.
And they might be able to find it. IX Mike, only level 1, but does skill up Gush. Great body blocks with that huge form factor that is the Tidehunter. Fluff will charge him up, and there's your first blood. Drawn by the Tidehunter. Old IX Mike gives him the anchor, gets that bonus gold.
So they're going to start off really strong with the Tidehunter actually not only getting the boots up, but 500 gold on top of that. His ancients have been blocked off at start. I'm curious if they'll keep that up, but no matter what, he's going to have a really good start to build him up there. But yeah, Clockwork already farming away towards 1,000 gold here. I could almost say, like, if you wanted to have like the do everything Clockwork, you could even consider a Midas. It's a little weird, but I mean, this is a hero that doesn't farm. Like, he gets Rocket Flare to kill a couple creeps, but you don't see this guy breaking like the 200 CS mark anytime in a game. So I would have to say that it's actually reasonable to turn early gold into something that'll continue that investment long term.
Yeah, another sort of interesting item choice that he could try for is rushing a Shiva's. Not the most viable of options in most cases, but I feel like I saw somebody do it once, and it can be okay. Again, it's all about that timing. It makes you really tanky, solves a lot of your mana issues, and you can jump on people, and they can't get away from you. Great for battery assault, and if they make it out of the cogs, just some options. And, of course, a good item against the Ember Spirit. A pretty quiet early game. Aside from that first blood, it is still the Clockwork coming out ahead in terms of raw CS. Scar in the top lane, farming up a Storm, trailing by only a couple of last hits. And it looks like TC is having a good time in the mid lane. Misses the Avalanche on Chicken MC here, though. IX Mike even rotates over. Don't know if they would have had the kill if the Avalanche had connected, but certainly not going to find it without the tiny stuns.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big time investment for IX Mike to come to the mid lane there. They really wanted that kill with that early pointing Gush. He's going to check out if his Ancients are not, in fact, spawning, and then he's going to make sure that the rune is well covered up before he makes his way up top. And now the creep wave pushes through. We've got 3 range creeps and a siege creep on top of the melee wave, and that means that he is going to be able to get a large amount of experience, but needs to pull the wave back before his tower takes too many hits.
And it looks like he'll be successful on that ploy, though, or on that ploy, rather, or maybe not. He doesn't even want to get close to that tower. Yeah, he sees the Earthshaker and sees how easy the setup could be for the Ember Spirit there. Rocket flies in from Clockwork, and they will use the Glyph. That does kind of delay the push for now. And, all right, there you go. Tower safe and sound. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, another missed Avalanche from TC. Ouch. Maybe intentional to farm the creeps, but will not connect on the brew.
Yep, so yeah, we're going to see that he's going to survive well enough towards the early stage. He's weathering the storm. He's not going to get that much CS. I mean, just 15 here, but it's going to be sufficient for him to actually break into the mid game and get that Blink Dagger up at a relatively good time. IX Mike playing some jungle plays. That's going to allow him to get the experience on the tower, and he is just going to be moving towards level 6 very quickly. I'm curious where the first rabbit goes, but mid lane, the magic nuke combo, TC has enough mana to burst down the Brewmaster, and that's before level 6.
Yeah, that time he connected with the Avalanche, and there you go. The duo, the well-known, truly needs no introduction, but they will pick off the Brew. And right before that, I was just saying to myself in my head, you know, I think this Brewmaster's done a pretty good job given it's been a 2v1. He hasn't had much support in the mid lane, and he, 15 CS, admirable, level 5, but now that he's been picked off, losing some of that momentum, and yeah, his net worth will definitely suffer a bit as we look towards the latter portion of this laning stage. Speaking of trouble, down bottom, Toxin gets body blocked by Whitebeard. Almost. Can't quite find it. They do look to set up on him, but Centaur, a little too big, will walk away. Clockwork still not quite level 6. Does actually go for a bit of a hybrid build here. 2-1-2 at level 5, so not maxing out that battery assault for maximum damage. Instead, looking for a farming tool and some global presence in that rocket flare.
Buff's gonna actually be caught on a cliff here. Interesting little position to be in. The Centaur Stomp did not come through. That might have been due to his disconnect. In either case, the Wisp is up here, is gonna have to break through a tree with a Tango, and then face the wrath of the double stack. The Golems, the Centaurs are gonna bring him through. Otherwise, he has to wait for his tether cooldown, which is not always the best option. Either way, a haste rune goes to Centaur, and the bottle will not be refilled.
Yep, the question is, will they punish this Centaur? He's right next to the haste rune. Should be able to pick it up. Maybe Whitebeard could deny it from him. This is one of those awkward times to pause that's rather unfortunate. So maybe Toxin can just grab the haste and then head for the hills.
Yeah, the animation and projectile, Toxin should be able to pick that up no matter what, as long as they actually wait for him to connect back in. But, yeah, TC is left to his own devices here in the mid lane, up against the Brewmaster. Looks like he did very recently cast both his spells. I don't know if the particles are not showing because of the pause, but that is interesting position for the Brew to be in, and they might be able to force him back.
Yeah, I see some schmutz on the ground here, which I think is the tail end of the avalanche on the ground. Maybe not. It's been unclear. I don't know what that is. Weird time for the pause. I don't know. Brew is now level 6, though, so he is a lot more harder to kill, has a lot more difficult, rather. Primal Split. But as we've seen many a time, if you can force the Brew to use his first one defensively, it is a bit of a victory. Brax in the safe lane on the Clockwork, man. He's still just pulling up this gold. He's up to nearly 1,800 at level 5. Still the last hit leader, and I still want to know what you have in store for us, Brax, here.
Yeah. Like I said, this guy's Clockwork is absolutely insane.
You're not confusing him for Bulba, are you?
No. And LGD Int, he was their offlaner, and he just absolutely destroyed on Clock. I actually was like only a day or two before the Bulba game, which is also legendary, and he's definitely within the top 3 clocks in the West as well. So
too many legendary clocks to keep up with, man. Bone 7's up there.
Yeah. That I would definitely say that those are the top 3, but of
all
course
the B
Bulba
players
doesn't play that role anymore, and Brax, he hasn't really stuck with a single team for the longest of time. Like the past 2 years, he's been all around the world, and yeah, I don't know. I can't say that he's at the same level that he was back then.
Yeah, this Clockwork set is pretty cool. I like the mustache. Very IX Mikey.
Yeah, very, very interesting indeed. But he hasn't died yet. I guess when he swapped, that was IX Mike's Cosmetics, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was like, how did they not have any cosmetics? That's not what Clockwork looks like, but yeah, they did indeed swap heroes. Tide lingering in the trees here. Hopefully this Centaur can reconnect. Bad time for a DC in general, but come on, Big Brad, you can do it. I believe in you. I believe in Obelisk.
Nice. Guess we need some Dota 2 dad jokes to pass the time, man.
Oh, yeah. Yep. You know, that Obelisk video really made me laugh. Sir Action Slacks. It took me a little while to get his humor, but I feel like after meeting him at TI, now that I kind of get it, it really cracks me up. I did the other day, I was streaming, and I did one of those, like, streamer plus 4 subs versus streamer plus 4 subs in houses. Mm-hmm. Proud to say, Zyori TV subs beat Slack subs in a very intense reverse captain's draft, so... Or captain's mode, rather. So, yep. Feeling pretty good.
Excellent. Oh, boy. Internet Cafe. Now, that is a problem I've only seen in SCA Dota, but, you know, sometimes you're in the West, you rely on that as well.
Well, this is definitely a problem here. Well, I'm not the admin today, so we'll see what the admins say about it. We are but humble spectators here. But yeah, at the end of the game, Slacks reported his entire team, which were all subs, by the way, and then just instantly DC'd. It was pretty comical. I enjoyed it.
All right, got a joke for you.
All right, I'm ready.
What is Sven's hometown?
Parker's looking at me like he knows the answer. He's smiling. I don't know. What is it?
Cleveland.
That's good. Oh, that's actually a good one. Cleveland.
What?
Parker
Yeah.
says it's too American.
I suppose so, but it's the SNA Dota, man. Who else is gonna be tuning in?
That's true. NA Dota, perfect for the demographic.
Yeah, we do gotta reconnect though. Toxin's back in. I guess the LAN cafe issue wasn't as prolific as could be imagined.
Temporary flash. Somebody kicked the router. All those cables going every which way. You looking forward to the summit, Blaze?
Yeah, hell yeah. That is just gonna be a great time.
Yeah? You
Some
ready
great
to
teams,
flex
too.
those camera skills?
I've been working on it. I've been practicing actually. I obviously haven't obs for anything officially, but it's just pretty easy to just tune into a Dota TV or watch a replay and just go for it.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like easier and harder in different ways. It's easier because as a caster, you're like, oh, this feels like kind of a vacation. This is really nice. All I have to do is the camera. And that's like how you feel for the first 2 or 3 games. And after that, you start to get bored and tired and realize how easy it is just to let your attention slip for like half a second. And then you realize, oh, there's all this action. And speaking of action, we've got to resume. Toxin, he gets the haste rune, so he'll be A-OK, resuming the pause. And no trickery will come afoot. But all right, so where were we? 2-0 Sneaky Nyx Assassins holding on to a staggering 2,000 gold lead already, about 1,200 experience, and really in pretty good shape in this laning phase. I think before the pause we were thinking about what Brax will pick up, and an item neither of us mentioned looks like it'll be an Orchid coming out first.
Fluff Stuff is in an awkward position here. Doesn't have anything to tether to at all, but it looks like they're not going to go the distance to try to chase him down. He doesn't have boots, but yeah, they just don't bother. And the Orchid on Clockwork. I'm going to assume that's not a refresher orb. And it solves all of his mana issues. He's not going to have to go for bottle or anything to alleviate that. And honestly, it's just going to allow him to keep tempo on the Ember Spirit. You hook shot, you Orchid, he's in the cogs, he's dead. So in that situation, he won't see it coming even enough to get the Flame Guard off. And that is going to make it so that he is ganked up by the Sky or the Clock or even solo killed.
It's also, going right in on to the Brewmaster. He'll get off the Primal Split this time, tries to turn it around on Fluff. He'll be successful. The Fissure locks him in place, and Chicken MC secures the first kill of the game for Root Gaming.
So, we're going to see the Tornado up just to annoy the Tiny a little bit here, but as long as he's not getting killed off, he's going to be okay. He's actually going to buy out a Quelling Blade here, interestingly enough, so just in full farm mode here, and actually going to go for a kill onto the Toxin. Oh, the stomp comes through just barely before the animation finishes. The slow attack speed of the level 6 Tiny.
So, there you go. Finally, Root Gaming getting on the board, getting a little pick-me up there.
Oh, no, they can't.
No.
They're pinging it out as if they wanted to go, but he's only level 5, so...
Yeah, Clockwork.
Oh, Rocket Flare, that's what it is. They're pinging out for Rocket Flare snipes.
Yeah.
Might still be able to get him, but it hasn't been cast.
Clockwork is, let's see, 2 points in. Yep, might have been an option for him, but he will find his level 7 now. Probably looking for a 3rd point in the Battery Assault, but I'm curious when Brax will start moving. Probably once he actually completes the Orchid, and he's not far away. He's close to his next Oblivion Staff, so probably like 10, 11 minutes he'll start moving around, perhaps getting a bit more active, and that's when we'll see the Sneaky Nyx Assassins, I think, start to hit their mark. Brewmaster not even close to his Blink Dagger. 1,000 gold towards it, but in 8.5 minutes, not so hot.
So, curious as to what their next move will be. Right now, they're just kind of scouting things out with the Rocket Flare, looking for an opportunity. But as Axmite keeps on leaving this top lane, he's not going to get his Ravage as soon as I would have expected. Like, he got the first blood, he got his boots up, but then he rotated mid and dallied about his Ancients a lot. He's got 2 stacks of Ancients, so he'll be able to farm that up at level 7 or 8. But as it stands right now, he's going to take hits anytime he tries to go for it, and the Ravage is still not there.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mike, but still doing okay. I mean, he has 3 last hits. Whoa, that first blood is really what's put him in an okay position here. Has his Arcane Boots, and I think he'll still be able to recover. You mentioned the Ancients, just a double stack now, and given that it's not blocked, there is definitely room for recovery. Down bottom, Toxin, just getting harassed. Skywrath, yeah, not quite level 6. So not much kill potential there. But I do like the combo of Skywrath and Clockwork together. We didn't really talk about that, but obviously Cogs, Mystic Flare are a match made in heaven.
Oh yeah, it's very substantial as far as potential damage output, but I honestly think this is a kind of do-it-yourself clock where he doesn't need the Sky to be there. Like, the Sky can sit in the safe lane and get some levels and kind of come back while the clock is on the move. Because as soon as his Orchid's done, he's going to be like a Clinks, moving across the map, as long as they have good wards up, they're going to be able to make some magic happen across the map. There's going to be a nice stack coming out of the eastern side of the Dire jungle here, so Root will be able to farm that up on most likely the Ember. I mean, you could, of course, do it for the Centaur, but it's a little dangerous.
Yep. Still making good use of the map. Centaur, speak of the devil, how's he looking? Not so great either. Tranquil Boots, both offlaners actually having a rough game here. He's only level 4, so even behind that of IX Mike. And Centaur, he's in the running for lowest level in the game. He's only bested by his buddy Earthshaker, who's sitting at a measly level 3 right now. So Root Gaming, yeah, they're getting out-farmed a little bit, but I think the more pressing problem is the experience. They need to get these ultimates online, especially on the Centaur and Ancient Apparition. He's really close. He'll find his soon, but without a Stampede, Centaur just not bringing that same level of utility to the table, and you'd really expect him to have it by 10 minutes for sure.
Scar taking care of that nice big stack with the Earthshaker helping him out, so very girthy income for him. It looks like Brack's going to try to snipe it off, but not going to work out, and it's going to be rotation back up top. IX Mike has the Ravage available, will show himself, and he should die. By all stretch of the imagination, he should be dead right here.
We'll see if it actually happens. 2 points in the Kraken shell. Anchor Smash just about maxed out, and instead he'll hit him with a Gush. Relocate up with the Hoof Stomp on 2. TC and Fluff, they've got 8 seconds left to make it happen. There's your Fissure. That'll break things up, and very defensive plays from Root, but they will be successful as no one dies. Though I guess you could say the same thing for Snaz. IX Mike still standing with a Ravage in tow.
Yeah, the Ember Spirit was in a position where he could play very aggressively, but I guess they wanted to wait out the relocate. It's kind of like a profit times 2, but now Brax has the Orchid. He will go for the hook shot onto the Earthshaker Raver and just burns him down.
Yeah, Earthshaker getting blown up here. Brax does get hit by the snowball, and he'll pay. 1-for-1 trade. Your position 1 for an Earthshaker. Sure, he gets a solo kill out of it, so not bad for the clock, but not quite that huge exchange they were hoping for. Mid lane, double damage on the Brewmaster. Thought they may rotate in, but no. Instead, Skywrath gets the bottom tower, and Fluff and Stuff will bottle up a Haste Rune.
That's 62 damage split push, man. That's like the best rat in the world, is Skywrath. But
pretty big. Pretty big.
He'll get his Arcane Boots up at the very least with that last hit, and maybe he'll be joining his allies as they need him. Like, right now, experience is really good for him because his skills actually scale very well. Like, getting the Ancient Steel maxed out is going to be imperative, and actually we're going to see a toss-in right in there. Brax doesn't even need a hook shot.
Yeah, there you go. The silence on Brewmaster, a fabulous tool to lock him down. No way he can primal out of that. Ice Blast will fly through. Chicken MC gets hit by a Fissure. Will not fall into shatter range, I don't think. But well, a little bit of a close call. 1 or 2 more auto attacks, and he would have been dead meat.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons Brewmaster is going for a BKB here. It's to stop the silence from Skywrath or from the Orchid, but also to negate the Battery Assault. The way that the Primal Split works now that it was nerfed with its animation, it actually is impossible to split if the Battery Assault is taking you solo. It used to be that you could time it perfectly. If you just hammer the key, you should be able to get it off between Battery Assault ticks. Now it's just cannot be done, but the BKB will enable that.
That's actually a really good point. That's one of those like little minor changes. And, oh, yeah, there we go. Looking for Scar. And not going to find it. Well, even though TC and Fluff have not been too successful in their relocate ganks, they haven't been unsuccessful. Tiny's still 1-0-2, looking for a very fast Aghanims, and that's a good trade. They still create some space for their team, stop the Ember from farming, and really doesn't slow down the Tiny all that much. That's only 10 seconds not farming in the jungle, and well worth it.
So IX Mike going to go to stack up his Ancients here, going to get a really nice stack out of that. I think that he's going to be able to farm that up with no problem at all. Brax up top is just going to hook onto this Centaur, and he's not going to be able to do anything either. Just absolutely obliterating.
Well, Orchid is a really good snowball item, and now seeing how well it worked, a little embarrassed it didn't come to mind right away, as if you can get it out at the 10-minute mark, I mean, you just have so much power. That's 5 seconds of lockdown. And this is kind of where Clockwork hits his first peak. I mean, Hookshot does a fair bit of damage. The Battery Assault does so much. And then he's got the maxed out Rocket Flare on top of it. This is not a hero that I would want to tango with in the jungle. Even auto attacks for over 100 a pop.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really good for heroes in particular, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all on agility or strength-based ones. They're going to toss right in, right onto the Brew, and he doesn't get the chance. The Orchid comes out, and the death of the Brew will come next. Brax walking away with a 3rd HP.
Yeah, and that's just such an easy setup. You can do it with Hookshot, or Tiny can just chuck you in, and He even casted the ultimate pretty much right away, and still that long cast point from Brew really hurting him here. Down bottom, Whitebeard pings out the Centaur. They're thinking about it. Rocket comes out. There's your concussive. Does he actually have the damage? No, he doesn't have the mana, so it looks like he probably won't. Still forces out the Stampede.
I think he could have just walked away, but
I think so as well.
Noise.
That's a big victory for Whitebeard, though. He'll be happy with that.
Looking for the toss last on the tower. No, I was just going to pick it up, and that's going to give a huge amount of farm to him to start him off. He's already got Bassi, Tranquils, and Bottle. Let's see what he builds next. Does he go straight for the mech, build up a Magic Wand or Urn? A lot of different ways to go this route, depending on how fast you farm.
But now a little tiny. TC, he's picked up the Whomping Willow, Aghanim Scepter complete, and now the real farming will commence. He is about 1,000 up on the Ember Spirit, who is rushing a BKB, so this is here where Scar, yeah, his farm is pretty good, but he's not investing in a farming tool. So Tiny will outfarm him pretty easily, just cleave versus no cleave. And Ember Spirit is one of few heroes where Battle Fury is really core for his damage output, and without it, I mean, Scar's just not so scary. Sure, maybe he can live a little longer with the BKB. I think it's a good item pickup, but where's the damage coming from for Root? That's my question here. You got the Brew, who's going to be locked down with Silence. Earthshaker, very underfarmed. Ember Spirit going defensive items. That leaves it on the Centaur, who still is about halfway to a blink at 16 minutes.
Yeah, if they had a Blink Dagger on either the Centaur or the Earthshaker, I'd feel differently, but as it stands, yeah, it's not going to be enough damage coming out, and yet they don't have a choice, right? Because you can't just be in a situation where you get hookshot orchided anytime you try to farm outside of like the 2 camps next to your base. Relocate bottom, blue come through, Silence already up on Brewmaster, and the Stampede is kind of alleviated by that stun. He will still be able to split, and Fluff and stuff will pay for that relocate gank.
And TC almost pays as well. Scar trying to lock him down, can't interrupt the TP, and it will just be a quick 1-0. Sneaky Nyx Assassins trying to get a freebie, but they will overcommit, and it is a full 5-hero rotation from Root. So even if this ends up without a kill on Whitebeard, yeah, there you go. Sure, they defend, they don't lose anyone, but that was costly. That's just a Wisp for 5 heroes, space created in the top lane, which means this tower is going to take a lot of damage. Brax finding farm. This is really rough for Root.
Dire's structures are fortified.
So in this position, they don't have an easy answer. It's all about farm. It's all about getting to that next level. Because, yes, Scar is finally going to finish his BKB. The Brewmaster, they're going to be delayed further with that kill up top.
Oh.
And the Soulburn finishes it.
Wow.
Is under attack.
Has Mike even had to Ravage yet? I don't think so.
No, he has absolutely not. And he's got the Blink Dagger, so it's going to be a good one when it does come out. Or I'll eat my words. But,
yeah.
hopefully it's not a Sheeper Ravage.
7-3 without having to use a Ravage. That's just, I think that stat alone kind of paints the picture of the way this game has been going, where you've got this Tide who actually was pretty effectively shut down in the laning phase, but now this team has made enough space for him in the other lanes that he's been able to recover. Brax will get an easy tower kill on the top. He does secure the last hit for himself, and he picks up a Force Staff, so now even more mobility on this Clockwork, and your boy JC will get a ward kill here. Nice use of the Sentry, so that's good. Small pick-me-up for Root Gaming.
Yeah, and he can afford to go for this very utility-based build with the Force Staff to follow, because he doesn't actually worry about his health pool here. Nobody's going to be casting spells on him, because he's going to have a Silence or a Battery Assault on whoever actually threatens him. This is the 4 melee lineup, and you only deal damage to a target if you're next to them, and that's where Clockwork shines. So he doesn't have to build Raw Tank. He doesn't even have to build a Bracer. Like, these basic Treads and Stout Shield is enough to keep him alive.
Ember Spirit finding himself in a tough situation momentarily. He does have 3 remnants available, but none of them are down. Nowhere to hop to. IX Mike with the Ravage connects on 1. Fissure to help break it up. BKB's used. Stampede as well, and actually a surprising amount of return damage. The relocate out saves the Tide. But now Brax on the back foot, left behind. Searing Chain secures the kill as Scar lives and makes it a 1-0 the other way. But again, it takes all 5 heroes of Root, and in the bottom lane, there is some pressure coming on this Tier 2 tower. Looks like they won't be able to do too much damage to it, but all right. Good fight for the Dire.
Yeah, most definitely. They pick up, of course, the rubber band kill on the Wisp, and they are able to get something out of it. That's the BKB at work. Ember Spirit just picked it up, and he uses the 10-second charge to not only save his life, but obviously to turn it around on the clock there. That's the first Ravage as well, so it's important that he's able to survive and to do work. But end of the day, that's you rush to BKB, you're going to exhaust all these charges down to 5 seconds before, let's say, the 35-40 minute mark of the game. And that's when things just get ugly, because they wait out that 5-second duration, and suddenly your Ravage, your Avatost, your Orchidid, they're just going to have so much potential against this hero.
Yeah, and I mean TC's farm is still basically unmatched. I mean Ember Spirit. Whoa, hold that thought. Speaking of the devil, Scar gets Orchided, and there's that battery assault just laying into him. Doesn't even need the soul burn. Easy solo kill for Brax. He'll get hit by an Ice Blast, but I don't think he'll be too upset about that. But yeah, Tiny still number 1 on net worth, and now with that kill, a pretty big margin. He'll clear out some Ancients. They're going to be the first one to break 5 digits worth of farm with this bounty rune, and well on his way to a very well-timed Assault Karas, and wow, Dagon up on Whitebeard. Okay, I'll take it.
Because you can. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you're just going to be enhancing the damage further. Once you hit level 11, like, you can kill anyone. You can absolutely destroy. Even the Brewmaster, I think you can kill with the Ancient Seal on him until he gets his BKB, which he will finally have in just 100 gold. But you saw the good that Ember Spirit's BKB could do for him. It was 8 seconds on cooldown when Clock got the hook. So
Yeah.
close, but no cigar.
But now remember, it's a little different here because Brew isn't just getting a BKB. He's getting it in lieu of a Blink Dagger. So yeah, the magic immunity will help, but a Brewmaster without Blink is not only unheard of, but not very good. Brax up top, hit by the Ice Blast, but Scar forced a BKB off the Orchid, and Brax, nowhere to go, will get taken out this
He
time.
almost hooked to Ix Mike. That would have been so impressive. To force the BKB charge and not lose anything. In the mid lane, it's going to be Brewmaster take a lot of damage, but I don't think this lasts, maybe? Oh, 3 HP!
If it hit with the Ancient Seal, it would have been a kill. Damn, that's
Dire's
close.
bottom tower is under attack.
Mike,
Level 11.
he's thinking about this. He sees Scar in the lane. He's doing the math, but uh-oh. The jig is up, Mike. You're going to get scouted by Joik. He's still, okay, backs up. Now in comes the relocate. He'll hop back to his Fire Remnant, and Joik will get left behind. Stuns up Mike, but in comes the toss. Gets hit by an anchor, and yep, down he goes. So, SNA do get a recovery kill up top, and only on the Earthshaker, but still not bad.
Yeah, it's just they
Dire's
have
bottom
to
tower
find a
is
way
under
to
attack.
fight with 5-second BKBs in the mid to late game. That's the bottom line, is if they don't have a choice at this point, Ember's going to go BOTs to spread the map a bit, and he's going to be mobile, but he's not going to be like farming, as you mentioned, as fast as Tiny. Tiny's just going to spread the map. He's got his AC coming out very shortly, and then he's able to just rapidly farm out like a jungle and a half, as well as the lanes. Like, he's able to crush towers, he's able to crush creeps, and the Ember Spirit is kind of dedicated to one thing at a time.
Certainly so. And I think it's still worth it for the Ember Spirit to get a Battle Fury here. I'm a little surprised to see the BOTs come out so early on. I mean, not all hope is lost. If he had a farming tool now, he could start to close the gap behind the Tiny. But committing to BOTs means... I mean, is Battle Fury still viable at all stages of the game for Ember Spirit? Do you think that's what we're looking at here for his next item slot?
As an absolute statement, Battle Fury is viable at all stages of the game to Ember Spirit, but if it's optimal, is a completely different story. I think you should go for like a Manta Scotty build. Just say, okay, I'm
just
going to
tank
get
up.
destroyed by the Orchid, destroyed by the Ancient Seal, and you get ways to dispel
Dire's
that, you
bottom
get ways to
tower is under
actually
attack.
enable yourself to at least do some damage. You're not going to have the backbreaker damage output, but maybe the Brew will find that eventually.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Eventually is the key word on that one for Chicken MC. His farm's still hurting a lot. 1, 4, and 2. You can see from his KDA how much he's been picked on here. Up in the top lane, Mike coming in. There's your Orchid onto the Ember Spirit. They force out the BKB. Mike holding the Ravage. And there's a Stampede used. They'll jump right on the Tide. They get the kill there.
Bottom
And-
2-3, though, is going to go really, really quickly if they don't have TPs for it. There's going to be one TP, and they're not going to even go to the high ground.
They lose their tier 2 in the bottom. So, an okay trade. Yeah, losing your Tide. They do force out another BKB on the Ember Spirit, which I feel like is almost the true victory there. It seems like that's what they were baiting for, and down to 7 seconds. So we're getting very close to that stage where Ember's big item investment becomes about 50% less effective.
Oh, mid lane, your boy JC going to take a lot of damage here, but he doesn't actually eat the ultimate. Does it matter? Okay.
Still
Just,
enough.
right click him down, no problem. Whiff an ulti, kill a support. Works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this poor Brew has no movement speed. He's 350 MS and no blink. He can't keep up with the Skywrath.
Now Brax in the top lane, hit by Searing Chains. Will use the Orchid on the Ember Spirit. Force Staff and Cogs to get away, but Ember, he's got a couple of Fire Remnants. Mike coming in, uses the Ravage,
That's
connects
ugly.
on Scar. And they'll find the kill. Gets a slight off at the last second, buys himself some time. Now they'll find Joy. Can they interrupt him? They cannot.
Yeah, TC, just 50-50 guess, and he does choose wrong in that situation. Does waste the relocate, but at the end of the day, 60 seconds later, you can just do it again. For now, he's going to be going back to the lane to farm. TC on bottom is just crushing every creep wave, and the fact that there is this much presence of creeps on the bottom lane, and the fact they have that mid observer ward, that Roche is completely unavailable to root, which is something they desperately need. They need some kind of extra income.
Brew uses his 10-second BKB in the mid lane. I heard it. I didn't see it. I guess Skywrath hit him with a Mystic Flare, but there's your 10-second BKB charge.
Ancient, like, you don't have a choice. You have to pop the BKB or you're feeding your life away, and that means no Blink Dagger. Yeah,
and that means a pretty good bit here. Almost a minute before the BKB will be back up, and SNA looking like they may have to fight. This is not when the Brew wants to go in. Chicken MC, now he'll get hit by the Arcane Bolt. He'll get hook-shotted, and Brew nowhere to go. Gets finished off as the Sneaky Nyx assassins strike right back, and we'll see where they go from here. But this is just really getting nasty for Root.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Toxic canceled his stun there, at least attempt for it. They're committing resources to try for things, and then they're not even doing the try part. So in the end, they're just getting picked apart. We are going to see Ember Spirit build up the broadsword. I think that's going to be crit. So he'll go 1 damage item, and then he'll go back for some durability. But I don't know, even the one like Daedalus will help, but it won't be like a backbreaker as it needs to be.
Yeah. Wisp is moving into a Vlad's, always a good item when you have a Tiny on your team, and just a casual Vit booster for now. So Wisp tanking up a little bit, maybe thinking about a Crimson Guard later on, but we saw the Assault Cuirass earlier on Tiny, and hey, that little Pudgeling bringing out a Crystallis, so Big Bad Tiny's got himself a crit, Blaze. And this is a rock worth fearing.
Just a lot. I mean, this is the hero that can almost 2v4 at this stage. Like, with Wisp and Tiny on point, they need to commit everything Root has to actually bring them down. And the AA Ice Blast has to hit on one of the two heroes.
I mean, right now, the Skywrath Mage has higher net worth than the Brewmaster, and that is a mid-brew versus a roaming AA in the early game. So that just sort of speaks to where this game is, how far Chicken MC has fallen, and well, how much farm Whitebeard has picked up. I mean, now a Blink Dagger to go with his Dagon. This is a pretty scary Skywrath.
Yeah, that's what I figured he would follow through with. Whitebeard likes to go for the Blink play on a lot of support heroes just to get that extra range of initiation, and for Skywrath, it's absolutely perfect. It's going to enable them to pressure every single BKB down to 5 seconds sooner rather than later. They can force those out, say, okay, you BKB or you die. Essentially, they're putting a gun to their head and saying, pop your BKB, because you don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good analogy. Looking to take a fight in the mid, perhaps. Root are all grouped up. I think they're hoping that SNA will press forward, but they know better. They've got this ward down that we've talked about, and just giving them so much intel here. This is a really great ward placement when you're on Radiant, and not a very typical spot. I don't think one where you'd normally just start throwing down sentries, but they can see exactly how defensive they're being. Root will back up. They smoke out of range of the ward, so that is good news for them. Maybe they can catch SNA off guard as they do start to advance in the lane. Whitebeard, you could be in some trouble here. Toxin inching forward, but whoa, the fast finger.
You've got to stampede for that. You see the blink in his inventory, you stampede or you don't get the kill.
Okay, well, maybe minor misplay from the Centaur, but still fast fingers from Whitebeard there. Very well done. And now he'll smoke up as they do a bit of a fake back. He'll rendezvous with the Tiny Wisp, and now they'll bottle up an invisibility rune. Also, maybe TC looking for a solo Roche. Yeah, they'll try it. Sneaky devils. But
they get the Vortex on him, but he pops the BKB, he cogs in, and he's going to go for a solo kill. 1v3. The Tide's here to back him up.
And he's got no TP, so he's in it to win it. And he will. He'll take Centaur out in a man fight to the bitter end. But unfortunately, half man, half horse will get cut down. Meanwhile, TC brings down Roche easily, picks up an Aegis. And now we'll go back to the top lane as Brewmaster, silenced, has a split, in some trouble, will be forced to BKB and split. And now Nyx are just giggling to themselves, and they'll just back up.
I mean, that's so many big cooldowns just down the drain. Ember Spirit is going to be going for that Battle Fury. You're talking about the merits of it, and I definitely agree that it is an option for him. I don't know if it's ideal, but at this point, I can't fathomably think of a single item in the game that can get him out of this. So
your boy JC, dude, just turned into a puddle to relocate. The Rocket Flare, this is just falling apart. It's 14-7. That doesn't seem that bad, but it's a 20,000 golden experience lead, and SNA just have complete control of the map. Ember Spirit's the only one with even an okay amount of farm on the Dire. Everyone else is just piss poor at this point.
Yep. It truly is an avalanche. The momentum from this Tiny just slow rolling and able to build up towards this devastating force. There is nothing that they can do to stop him. I mean, I'm like thinking Divine Rapier on a Ember Spirit at this stage. Like, I don't otherwise see a solution. This is too much to handle, and it just comes down to the draft and to the execution. 14-7, they make their global plays work, and I really think the Orchid was that thing that just set the tempo for this game.
Yeah, wow, Ember Spirit actually survives that. He does BKB again, so 6 seconds. We're almost there, Blaze. And, I mean, when you have to use your BKB exclusively as a defensive tool to run away, it really just speaks to the state of the game when you're always on the back foot on an aggressive hero like Ember Spirit. And now TC has a full data list. They've got plenty of time left on the Aegis, so over 3 minutes. Yeah, SNA are feeling good, and they're getting to that point where they can just kind of group up as 5 and move towards the base. As long as they're pretty tactful with their abilities, they shouldn't have too many problems here with the glyph down.
Yeah, essentially that is always just, you have to look at it like a 5-second BKB in the Ember Spirit, because that's what Nyx's lineup turned it into. Just by force, by the fact that he had to buy it at 20 minutes, and now they put the pressure on, they keep it on. We're going to see the refresher come out on IX Mike in about 1,400 gold. He's up against a 6-second BKB and an 8-second BKB, and then of course the Centaur will have his pretty soon as well.
Yeah, the refresher timing really good here for Mike. And, whoa, Centaur hops in. Hoof Stomp will not connect. Good use of their elusive abilities. SNA just tickling this tier 3 tower. They know they've got Root completely cornered in their base. So they're in that position where they can feel safe and kind of do whatever they want. They can try to force the issue and keep them turtled up. They can find the best of both worlds, keep them turtled up and farm out their jungle, or they can just take a turn for the passive and sit back and farm and use that advantage. Given that they have the Aegis for another 2 minutes, I think it's in their favor to keep fighting. Brax gets initiated on, Orchid comes out, and Chicken MC will be repelled. Now Toxin comes in, hits him with a hoof stomp, double edge. Fissure is there. They bring down the Clockwork, and SNA nowhere to be found as Tiny Wisp just too far away, and Tide's busy farming Ancients.
Was the most sheepest Brewmaster initiation I've ever seen in my entire life. He was just like, oh, please don't hurt me, Mr. Clock. Barely go again. He had 4 people at his back, just outside his base, and he's tiptoeing around this guy. But you don't know what's around the corner. You don't have vision. Now popping the BKB split right onto TC. I think they can actually bring him down.
Remember, though, he has the Aegis of the Immortal, so even if they do, how scary will it be? Relocate back, not into the well. TC will go to the tier 1 tower with Fluff. And it looks like Fluff will just go back to die. I'm a little surprised here. I actually would have thought they might go to the well and come back and look to fight with IX Mike on his way to Rendezvous. Instead, they'll do it more passive, and Fluff won't even get punished for it. He'll be able to dodge the Ice Blast and just TP home.
Yeah, they are actually afraid of just what you were talking about. They probably theory-crafted there's a way that TC could have gotten near half to full HP off of that, so they're like, okay, we just can't mess with it because there's the Tide waiting in the wings. We do see Whitebeard taking some hits from Scar. We'll try to turn around and force the BKB on Ember, but he will be chopped down in the end, and TC can't get close enough.
Yep. Oh, but now TC comes in. No BKB. There's your Ravage on 2. Your boy JC. He'll get caught in it. Joik coming in thinking about an Echo, but he'll decide that's not the best of ideas, and it will be a 2-for-1 here. So Ember uses the BKB to get 1 kill, but ultimately that decision will cost him his life. Aegis soon to expire, about 30 seconds, so Tiny probably looking to die. And this far aggressive, it might actually happen. Clockwork not going to find the hook shot that he wanted. There's your Aegis. Silence onto Chicken MC. He'll BKB out. And now TC's back with full HP, full mana.
I think they're having some fun with this one. They're cogging each other in weird positions. They're accidentally blocking hooks and pinging frantically, but end of the day, yeah, the Dragon Haze will dissipate and this Rax will drop so quick. Even with the backdoor protection up, they can overcharge this Rax down if they want, but they could just wait for the wave. Yeah,
Glyph will be up in about 30 seconds. Not enough time to save it. Centaur coming in, and won't be enough to save his barracks. Now creeps have entered the base, so no backdoor protection. Ice Blast connects on the Tiny, gets clipped by a Fissure. Primal Split up in about 8 seconds. Maybe Root will have a go at them, but not going to find their cooldowns in time, and they will just have to concede a bottom lane of barracks. They'll have a glyph. Yeah, exactly. They'll have a glyph to tango with next time, but I just don't see anything stopping SNA from basically doing that again. And now Clockwork. He's working on an Aghanims. He's still about 1,500 gold away, but eesh.
Game is hard. Yeah. I mean, their Shaker's gonna have a Blink Dagger soon, quote unquote. Like, I don't know. It's soon TM, really. They can sell the Soul Ring and pick it up. But I don't think he really wants to do that. I don't know if he has a choice.
Whitebeard could find himself in a bad situation, and he will. It'll secure his demise, but now his friends have arrived. They're hungry for recovery kills. Chicken MC caught by the cogs. He loses some mana. Not enough to actually get off the split. Sipping the bottle. Can he get past the threshold? No. He's coming back in. Mike does not have a Ravage, does have a Refresher, but really wants to save it for that double Ravage in 30 seconds. Tether to Mike. Overcharge. Healing him up. Scar pops the BKB. Will live, can't find the kill, does elude the avalanche. Now Brax forced the BKB out of the chains. And Primal Split's been used. Cyclone onto the Tiny. Brax, BKB on. The Brood just doesn't do enough damage at this point. Toxin hopping forward, but misses the Hoof Stomp TC. He'll just go ahead and click down these Pandas. He's not scared of the Spirits. Earth Panda, one hit from dead. TC, can he find it? He goes for your boy JC, gets the kill there. Now the Panda gets killed. Brax hook shots in on the Toxin. And will be forced back, relocate back in on Fluff. Brax will just try to TP home. It won't happen. Searing Chains interrupted. Mike comes in. Ravage number 1. Refresh. Ravage number 2. Clockwork is still alive, and Root get turned around. All 5 fall. Sneaky Nyx Assassins. Wow, just showing Root Gaming what their skills are all about. GG, well played. That'll be it. Wow.
Absolutely astonishing play from the Sneaky Nyx Assassins, just running all over their opponents. So astounding play from every single member of their team. I can't even call an MVP. Like, Ix Mike got a great double Ravage off there. His Ravages in general were very on point. The relocate play from the Tiny really enabled him to do what he needed to, and the standout player that we didn't expect, but Brax and the Clockwork safe lane really paid off for them. They got the pressure, they forced the BKBs, and even then that wasn't enough. 36 minutes in, you're dry of your charges, you're losing every fight, have absolutely no farm, outgunned by a 670 GPM Tiny, and that's how Sneaky Nyx Assassins take this away.
Absolutely. So, only 2 games today, Blaze, but they were good ones. It's always a pleasure. That will wrap up our America coverage today. As we mentioned before, all the different regions are firing on, well, almost full cylinders. A lot of the top-tier teams still involved with Dream League and various other events, but the initial stages are here. This is day 5 of the America group stage. I think I might have said day 6 earlier, but it is actually day 5. I think they're a day behind. I'm Zyori, joined remotely by Blaze. Thank you so much for joining us for our Starladder coverage today. The first VOD is already on YouTube. This one will be up shortly, and I think up next is SEA starting in about 8 hours or so. You can look forward to that. But Blaze, always a pleasure. Any closing words?
Not at all. I mean, this is really the smoothest game I've seen from Sneaky Nyx Assassins. Obviously, Ush wasn't able to be here for it, but even still, I expect some big things from them in the future, and hopefully Root get back on their feet as well.
Got to get back up on that horse, man. So, we'll see y'all later. Thank you for joining us again, and plenty more Starladder coming your way soon.